All right, so yesterday we told you all about how we think these fires started and why they didn't have the resources and equipment or the water or the ability to put them out. But the next problem LA will face is why won't they be able to rebuild? And it has more to do with ridiculous government regulations than you may think. We already told you that a ton of residents don't have insurance because California passed stupid laws that would have bankrupted insurance companies, so many of them completely pulled out of the state altogether or canceled policies. But what happens once the fires are out? How do you rebuild? Before it burned down, California was already one of the most expensive places in the world to build. You want to put a porch on your house? Forget about it. You want to pave your driveway? No way, dude. But you build back square miles of homes and businesses? Don't hold your breath for that one. The area has already been declared toxic.
That is what is in the air right now. It is toxic. It is not a place where anyone should be.
This fine particulate matter can penetrate deep into the lungs and become a real problem. It can even enter the bloodstream.
Oh, and California has some of the strictest environmental laws, even more strict than, oh, I don't know, Maui, which, by the way, it took months to complete just the hazardous removal phase of that. Forget actually removing the rest of the damaged debris. Safe to say, you're not going to be driving down Sunset Boulevard anytime soon. So a few months at best, okay, at best to do any type of hazardous removal. Then actually the cleanup, if people can rebuild at all, and judging by the amount of help the government has given the good people of North Carolina, do not hold your breath for that. Some of Hollywood is already catching on. This is great. Sarah Foster tweeted out, "We pay the highest taxes in California. Our fire hydrants were empty. Our vegetation was overgrown. Brush not cleared. Our reservoirs were emptied by our governor because tribal leaders wanted to save fish. Our fire department budget was cut by our mayor. But thank God drug addicts are getting their drug kits. You far left policies have ruined our state and also our party." You're getting it. You're getting it. Now you just got to vote differently. But let me tell you what else you're going to have to deal with from the party that you voted for. Should you try to rebuild, most people in California will be doing it out of their own pocket because of the insurance problem I just told you about. So if you can afford that hurdle somehow, some way, the government, let's say the government even funds this at all, okay? And I mean, look, since it happened to the area where they're donating classes from, it might, I mean, maybe. They didn't do it for North Carolina, but they might do it for Hollywood. So let's just say, you should decide to rebuild your house or business there. I don't know why you would. Before anything, you need to pay an architect to draw your plans, because everything burnt down, you're building completely new. This could cost you $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, depending on the size of your new pad. First, then, you have to contend with the EPA. Clean Water Act, Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, Resource Conservation Recovery Act, Marine Protection Research and Sanctuaries Act, Toxic Substance Abuse Control Act, which could include navigating any one of these on various levels due to the scope or size of your project. Then, here's where it gets good. You get to the state level. And here, this is from a local expert that they call an expediter. They're a firm that specializes in navigating California's crazy building process by the other way. That's another expense you might have to pay as well. Quote from their website. Manages the permitting and entitlement process for all types of real estate development throughout greater Los Angeles, including single-family dwellings, multifamily market rate, and affordable housing, commercial offices, and retail. Also from their website, the permitting process itself can be somewhat lengthy and complicated depending on the size and scope of your project. If there's a problem with the building plans you submit to the LA BDS, you will likely be asked to make revisions to these plans or submit new ones. Any issue that arises during this process will take time to fix, which means that development on the building in question will be delayed by a substantial amount. They nailed it. Then, let's say you get through that. California has this neat little thing that is the Department of Redundancy Department, the EPA only for the state regulations, called CEQA. That's the California Environment Quality Act. It is a doozy. Here, from their website, CEQA requires public agencies to look before they leap and consider the environmental consequences of their discretionary actions. CEQA is intended to inform government decision makers and the public about the potential environmental effects of proposed activities and to prevent significant avoidable environmental damage. Thanks. But don't worry. This is their environmental impact report decision. This is their tree flow chart that you can follow along so it helps you understand the process. I mean, that looks simple enough, right? Now, under this flowchart, you will need to obtain A, Negative declarations permit, that's $3,000. Mitigated negative declarations, another $3,000. Environmental impact reports, that's $4,168.50. Substitute document pursuant to a certified regulatory program, that's another $1,400. So you're almost $12K deep just because some useless bureaucrat said so. We didn't even get to your building permits yet. But once some government official takes your money and now has determined that you aren't harming like some weird salamander or isn't some rare flower growing on your property, you can apply for a building permit. Now, look at this. Building permits in California rose by 430% from 2008 to 2018, and they kept going up from there. That's just the most recent data. LA has some of the strictest zoning laws in the country, and it takes a long time to get approved for anything. You want to change a window. And depending on what, where, and how big you intend to build, these can range from like $500 to over $20,000. There's also a plan check fees where you pay a town architect to look over the plans your architect that you paid already drew, site inspection fees, a few others. Then you can start building. Now, rest assured, if you at any level received any state funds, they will likely include some sort of dumb DEI requirements. You're going to have to hire some LGBTQ chapter president with a pink hammer on your construction crew. It's going to be owned by a woman of color, and you got to be a midget. You think I'm kidding? Just wait. You also have to make sure that all the components of the new house that you're building comply with this nice 173-page green manual right there. All new structures, they have to meet all these wild eco standards like earthquake standards and sustainability. Like you got to have argon gas-filled windows and triple insulated door frames. Their toilets can only flush at 1.28 gallons per flush. Shower heads can only use 1.8 gallons a minute. Bathroom sinks and faucets can't exceed half-gallon a minute. Kitchen sinks and faucets can't exceed 1.8 gallons a minute. Oh, that all costs money to comply with. And this doesn't even include the cost of labor, which is one of the highest in the nation, due in part to labor unions, environmental groups, minimum wage requirements, and other regulations. Oh, you want to pour concrete for your foundation? AB 32, the Global Warming Solutions Act, imposes fees on industries that produce greenhouse gases, including cement manufacturers, which raises the price of cement for rebuilding, obviously. It's not free. If you're building a commercial building, well, hold up there. You have to dedicate 25% of new parking spaces to EV charging, and you have to pay to install those expensive chargers. All new homes must also include the electrical panels for these, should you ever want to install one day, or they mandate you do it. Oh, by the way, the second you apply for this permit, you start paying property taxes on the property before you even start building. Kind of makes you want to leave California, doesn't it? But if you do, and you move to a red state, if you left because of the policies that put in place by the people that you liberals voted for, that drove you out, if you leave California, you leave that liberal mindset back there. Don't go voting for the same crap in other states. Again, elections matter.